Here I have the bike stood up on jack stands with the stunt cage. This will make it a lot easier to take off the forks. You need to first take off the tire. There are videos on that if you guys need help with that. When it comes to the fork, what I like to do first is leave the fork mounted on. Then with the crescent wrench, I'm gonna loosen up this top part. There is a specific tool to use for it. However, since I don't have it, I'm just gonna use the crescent wrench. So this top part is gonna be 45 millimeters. And I'm gonna use an 18-inch crescent wrench to loosen it up. This is just so that it's easier to loosen once you have it actually taken out. So now what you're gonna wanna do is loosen these Allen keys down here. These are gonna be 6 millimeters. This one's also 6 millimeter right here. And then you're also, these forks are different, these clip-ons. So these are gonna be 5 millimeter. Once you loosen all of these up, now you can just give it a little twist. Your entire fork will come right off. So since I pre-loosened it on the bike, now it should be just pretty easy, just with your hand, to unscrew the top part. You're gonna have to hold it with your legs and your hand. There you go. So once you unscrew the top, you're gonna want to have the tool for this. Okay, so this is the special tool you need to remove this inner part. It's called a BPF tool. And I believe this one is 41 millimeters. I'll put this exact one that I got from Amazon in the description. That way you guys could purchase it. So what you do is you slip this in through here, just like that. And this will line up with the inside of the fork. Now, off video, I loosened it. To loosen this inside part, you're probably gonna need 2 hands because it is very, very difficult to loosen it. I already pre-loosened it, so I'm able to just rotate it, and it'll loosen it. You're gonna have to rotate it a couple times, but cracking it loose is probably gonna need 2 hands, as it is very, very difficult. So there you go. Once I loosened it, it just comes off. So once you got this thing loosened up with the special tool, you can just go ahead and lay it down on your oil pan and then start pouring this out. I keep my finger there just because the spring is gonna slide out along with the plastic piece. We want to keep a note which way that plastic piece is facing. So like it is facing that way. And then the spring comes after it too. Then you just want to leak out all the extra oil by pumping it. This. Okay. So once you got most of the oil out, you're going to want to pry the outer seal with a screwdriver. You got to be very careful not to scratch your forks. Be very gentle. It'll take patience, especially if forks are very dry. Press hard and you'll slowly start to get it apart like that. As you can see, just keep turning it while prying it a little bit. As you can see, it's prying. You can tell it's prying little by little. Let's go all the way around, slowly and gently, okay? So make sure not to scratch it. There you go. That outer one comes out. Now you're gonna want your snap ring pliers, because you have a snap ring in here that we gotta take out. Might be hard to see on video, but it is in there. Be very careful not to scratch your forks. All right, so I have a snap ring right there. Just squish slowly. There you go. Took that snap ring out. This snap ring was in there. Once you got that snap ring out, in order to take this apart, you're gonna wanna bang it upward repeatedly. There you go. Now, you're gonna wanna take note on how these are ordered. So like, it starts with the outer seal, the snap ring, the inner seal, we'll just say an O-ring, your bush, and then your bushings. So I'm gonna replace both of these bushings, and so I'm gonna use the snap ring pliers to take this bushing off. You just put them in there. It's gonna slip once or twice, but once you have it over the crease, it'll come right off. There you go. Once you have it over the crease, it should just come right off like that. You can pull that off. Comes right off. And then take off your next bushing. This off. The inner. The snap ring. And then the outer dust seal. Now you could get your new seals and new bushings, which I'll put in the description where I bought these. So what I like to do is use this as a sort of liner. That way it doesn't scratch the seals. So you're gonna start first. You want to take all those out. I'm gonna start first with the dust seal. There you go. Slide it through. Then your snap ring, which I have a new one, so we're gonna use the new one. Then your inner seal, which you're gonna want the part with writing on it, the thicker part, to be facing towards the dust seal. You can tell this part is thicker than this part. So thicker part facing towards the dust seal. I'm gonna do the same thing for this one just so it doesn't get scratches. There you go. And then put this back. And then I do have the new bushings, so I'm putting that one back, and then this one we'll put a little bit of oil on it just so that it's easier for it to slide in. This one might be a little tricky to put back since it goes in with pressure. Once you got it, all you need to do, slide it through. All right, so after some fighting with it, I was able to get this bushing on. Once you got all of that in, you can go ahead and start putting the outer part of the fork back together. Now, this part, you want to save these two at the top. You're going to start with the inner seal. For this one, you're going to need a special tool. So you're going to want a fork seal driver in order to push this one in. So we'll line it up there. And then we're using fork seal driver kit. This is 40 to 41 millimeters. And just set it up right here like this. This kit is gonna make your life a whole lot easier. I recommend buying it. I got it from Amazon as well. I will put the link to it in the description as well. So once you got it nice and lined up, just gonna want to give it a couple hits. So you could kind of hear once it already went in. Kind of just bottoms out. So once you use that fork driver to push the inner seal in, you're gonna have to do the snap ring next. So that fork driver pushes the inner seal enough so that the snap ring will be able to go into place. So you grab the snap ring and you're gonna want to put it back to where it goes in here. It's gonna take a little fidgeting, but all right, so after a little struggle, we were able to get that snap ring in there, as you could tell. It lines up with like a crevice that's in there. You'll be able to tell because you could pull it up and it's not gonna come out. Once you got that there, now you do your outer seal that you have up here. You're gonna want to present it right here, and like before, use the driver tool. This time though, I'm gonna use the 42 to 43 millimeter size, and then just the same thing, just keep hitting it. You'll be able to hear once it's fully in, like bottoms out. So as you can tell right here, looks like we got it fully in. the outer dust seal. Now once you got that, that's where you fill this up with oil. I'm using Maxima fork oil, 10 weight. In order to know how much to put in here, you're actually gonna want to eyeball it rather than by volume. And to fill it up, you want it completely empty. You don't want any of the springs or components inside, and you want it all the way, you want the fork all the way to its bottom part. And from the gray fork, that's where I'm measuring to here. So basically we want fork oil to be all the way up here. That's where we would want it. So now you'll just slowly put some in. So there you go. That should be about the right amount. Again, 4.21 inches from the silver part of the fork. So about here is where you want to fill it up. Now you could go ahead and put the spring in. And this plastic part in. And then this part. Okay, you're gonna wanna push it down. It is gonna take some effort to get it to grab onto the treads. So once you got it in the threads, you're gonna wanna spin it a couple times, hold the top and the bottom with your legs. Just keep spinning it until it goes back into place, until it won't spin anymore. There you go. This is supposed to screw in just as many times that it took for you to unscrew it. But once you have it tightened using the tool, I like to just give it an extra tighten with a pipe wrench, just to give it that extra tightness to make sure it's in there. There you go. Now you can take out your tool. So that's what we tightened right now. Now you can just move the black part back up and start spinning this to close it. Hands are oily, so I'm gonna be using shop towels. Let's keep spinning it. I'm spinning the black part too. You can spin the black part to tighten it while holding the gray part at the top. There you go. Now once you can tighten it enough with your hands, that's when you could grab the whole fork and put it back into its spot. All the way. There you go. Then you could tighten this right here. Tighten the 6mm Allen screws down here. That way it holds the entire fork. You could then grab the crescent wrench from earlier and then fully tighten the top part, just so it's snug. There's no torque specification that I know of, but just a little tighten. There you go. That way it doesn't come off. And that should be it. Your fork seals should be all good to go. So this is obviously my way of doing it. This is just how I do it. I'm not a professional mechanic, but this is how I do my fork seals. If I did do anything wrong, you guys, you know, could communicate with each other in the comments. That way, you know, the right information is out there. But I just made, you know, this video that way you guys could see how to change the seals on a 2021 Zx6r.